everybody, and welcome back to another exciting edition of CLX Foundry Live, where we go dive deep, face first into a build and see what we can put together. Today's going to be a fun build, but first, let me introduce you to today's master builder and our lead technical expert. It's Zack Paul Killing Stuffenworth.
Yeah! I'll do my best.
Here we go. I heard somebody yell in the background, and that's hilarious. Yeah, there we go. No, we got Zack here today. Our friend Paul Steffens is currently out on assignment. He is discovering what grass feels like. So, today, we've got a great show, and we've got some great PCs, plus we've got a great look into what we did at Level Up Expo. But before we do that, let's talk about what you're already thinking about, and this is the amazing giveaway that we're doing in partnership with our friends at AORUS, as well as our friends over at BEACN. Check this beast out. We built it earlier in the month, and we're so excited because one of you is going to win it. Now, how do you do it? You're going to type exclamation giveaway in the chat right now. Now, when you do that, I don't know why I had to say now twice. When you do that, all you've got to do is follow the instructions. Fairly simple. And the one thing everybody wants to know is, hey, well, how do we get them codes? Well, let me tell you how to get codes. You can find codes on our, on Tuesdays here on the Kick channel, on Thursdays over on the Purple channel. You can also find them on our social medias, and that's CLX Gaming at YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. You can also potentially, perhaps find something inside of our Discord. That's discord.gg/CLXgaming. You can also find things on my streams. We'll talk about that later. That's not important. But right now, the man whose hair is definitely making me jealous, yes. Zack, what are we doing today? Because I believe we've got something special that we're doing today.
Yes, so this is a new set that we are getting ready to launch. Inside of it, we'll have an i7, an Intel i7 14700KF. We're going to be installing an Aztec 240 liquid cooler. We are going to be installing all of that onto an ASRock B760 Pro RS with Wi-Fi on board. We've got 32 gigabytes in total of 5600 megahertz GeO RAM. We've got a sick Patriot 2 terabyte NVMe M.2 to install, and then a rippin' fast 4060 Ti. And all of this will be powered with a 750 watt Kratos power supply and chilled by 6 of our white M2 fans.
Perfect. Also, just a quick shout out to all of our friends across all the social media platforms. Right over on the TikTok, we've got user 94031289370, which I'm sure is not a randomly picked user ID. Says, build me a minimum. All my settings, I'll give it to you for a $3,000 budget. Here's the thing. You know where you can go for that? And it's a great place. And you don't even need us to help you. It is clxgaming.com. Now, if you head over there, you can utilize a whole ton of tools to figure out how much effort it took Zack to pop that front off. By the way, if you have questions anywhere and across all of the platforms we're on, please let us know. We love answering questions, whether it's your build, our build, another build, or if you just want to talk Legos. It's actually a lie. I'm really not interested in talking Legos right now. I know, I love Legos. I know it's a weird thing. It's like, dude, those are kids' toys. I don't actually care. I like it's a feeling and a sense of accomplishment once you've finished building things. I think when I finally got rid of my Legos, I gave them to Dornbeckers because you can sanitize them. And so Dornbeckers is a children's hospital, and I had a giant Mayflower box.
Nice. With
butter tubs, like this soft margarine butter tubs, filled. I want to say it was like 17 by 7. I had over 100,000 pieces. It was nuts. Now, I'll tell you what is also nuts is this ASRock motherboard. Let's talk about this. This is our B760 Pro RS Wi-Fi that we love, and it's even got a built-in IO shield. Now, the one thing I want to point out about this, because it's a little different than things that we've seen before, because you look at the heat sink that's over the top of what's there on the left side. Now, I just assume that whole area is the North Bridge, but what's that actually called, Zack?
Yeah, so this area is all the North Bridge.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Okay, so we can see a little bit inside of there, but let's take a look at that side panel real quick, our IO shield, so you'll understand what kind of connectivity we've got at the very top. We've obviously got our USB 2s. My whole page just refreshed. There we go. And then as we move down, obviously you've got our display port and our HDMI. You've got both of your Wi-Fi antennas right there. Everything below there is USB 3.2, and then we've got Gen 2s, and then we've got a 3.2 Gen 2 by 2. So you've also got your Ethernet port, and of course your triple audio opportunities, which is fantastic. We love it. Now, obviously the B760s and just the B series in general refer to AMD, do they not?
No.
No. Okay. How does that work?
The last I did heavy research on that, B is like a starter, or could be a business level type grade of a motherboard, compared to ones that can do a little bit more like overclock specific work on them.
Interesting. See, the things we learn. Don't forget, there's no such thing as a dumb question, people. Let's go. Now, the first thing we want to talk about is how we're going to be powering this entire PC, and that is going to be an Intel Core i7-14700KF processor. These seem exceedingly powerful. Zach, what can you tell me about this processor?
Yes, this processor has 20 cores on it. 8 of those cores are going to be performance cores, and 12 of those cores are going to be efficiency cores. Then, as far as how many threads this thing can rip apart, we can do 28 of those. And then, as far as our boosting, we have 5.6 gigahertz.
There we go. And so, in conclusion, here we go. As we're getting everything mounted and getting ready for the mounting, what Zach's doing right now is he's actually putting together the brackets so that we can have a liquid-cooled system. Now, the fun part about liquid cooling is that it's exceedingly efficient, and they've come a long ways when we talk about the efficiency of cooling. So why is that so important when it comes to how you plan your build?
Ideally, when we plan out a build, we want to get a cooling solution that is capable of maintaining a good base for our processor. And what I mean by a base is a resting temperature. You don't want it to have a high resting temperature, because then when you get into a gaming situation, then it's just going to heat up even more and turn your already good warm cookie into a little burnt treat. So ideally, having a proper cooling solution that can maintain whichever processor we are going with is going to be key.
There we go. Now, speaking of keys, that's exactly what you need in order to mount this to the top. We've got to be able to put that pump down and make sure that we've got that there. So, I see a couple people typing exclamation giveaway over in TikTok. I will check and make sure that command is a thing. We'll check. We'll figure it out. Now, while we're figuring that out, what I would love to also talk about is the fact that you're doing this in a very specific way. So when people are putting together their AIO, which is an all-in-one, you don't want to do it in a circle, do you?
Correct. So that applies. So like, say we are going to go in a full circle. Well, let's just do the motherboard as a showcase of what would happen. I apply pressure here. What happened to the rest of the motherboard? Did you see that this corner down here lifted? Well, if I apply pressure to this side, then we're pressing this side, and this side is lifting up off of the ground. So that's causing inappropriate pressure to one side, which can damage our pins or our processor in return. So by going from corner to corner and bouncing, it applies even pressure across the processor chip, allowing for a very nice return of heat to your heat distribution source. This one being a
which is great. Honestly, I've never actually seen you do the whole like push the sides, because that is a great example and representation. Now you want to make sure that you're putting this together before you're putting it inside the actual unit, correct?
Yes. I like that because that allows all of this room. I can kind of sit and relax. I'm not having to work inside of a tight space. So it just makes it a lot easier to play around with your components if I can move them wherever I need to.
Got it. Now we do have a couple questions coming in. First of all, let's go over here to our green side. What up, Curto Gaming? We got Clever Raven in the house. Lady Death is back. Hi, Jeff is here. We've got Omek and Damon Asin. But the question coming in is, how does one check or know if they have a cooling processor?
Would that be like your cooling solution? All of like, to run a system, it will have to be chilled. So
yeah, that's what I was. I think that's what was being asked. Let me do this real quick and paste that. Nope, that is not what I wanted to do. But okay.
And then, as
pick the keyboard, DJ. Pick the keyboard.
As thermal paste, this had thermal paste pre-applied to the bottom of it. I checked it real quick.
Gotcha. Perfect. Sounds good. Okay, so next up we have got an F-150. No, I'm sorry, it's a RAM. That's what we've got. We've got RAM, and that is going to be two 16-gig sticks of GEAL DDR5 5600. This is exceedingly fast RAM when it comes to, you know, the speeds that are the latest and greatest, but it's 32 gigs. Now, when it comes to gaming PCs, have you been seeing a trend of more 32 gig becoming the standard? Or 16?
So 32 right now is a good base standard that with like DDR4, DDR5 on the horizon is a very good weight to have. That's going to allow you to play all of your games very well, and then you will still be able to do other applications on the system as well, other than just gaming. But that's where like getting into programming or any heavy editing, that's where having more will be better. But in a gaming scenario for right now, 32 gigs is a superb number to have.
You know, it's superb having an NVMe M.2. We've got a 2 terabyte Patriot P300 we'll be shoving in here. This will be a fun one to use. And of course, it seems fairly easy to install. I do want to address one thing over here with Curto Gaming. So real fast, there's no such thing as dumb questions in this chat, because we always keep in mind that at some point, someone was in an executive office when they asked for ideas of what to do for a film. And that individual, probably an intern, said, "Ooh, let's make a movie about sharks in a tornado." And Sharknado is a $5 billion franchise. So there's no such thing as dumb questions. Because if that makes $5 billion, who knows what your good question should spawn. But yeah, no, it's not. Processors aren't necessarily self-cooling, but they do require different cooling methods. And I believe that there's a couple, and we do open loop and closed loop here. I know there's the mineral bath thing that I am not well versed on. But now that we've got our 2 terabyte drive in there and we've got our RAM in there, now it's time to set and figure out how we're going to cool our processor. Now, obviously, that pump that's going to be running through those 2 tubes that you see next to Zack's arm are going to feed into a radiator, so it pushes in one side, pulls out the other, and it's going to run the water through, or the liquid, through all these little, I would say, what do you call them? Fins? I would call them fins.
Yeah, I call them water lines.
Water lines. And so as it passes through all of that at high speeds, it immediately dissipates the heat. Now, to do that in an even more efficient way, we use fans. Now, there's a couple ways to attach the fans. Zack, what would you say is the most common versus what are the options?
So the pushing air through the radiator, like what we're doing here now, is probably one of the most common ones, because your typical case setup is going to be we'll just say 3 fans in the front and 1 in the exhaust. Well, you have your radiator on the back side of your fans that are sucking air into the case, which is pushing air through your radiator. Another way that we could do it would be to have fans on the back of the radiator, which would be pulling air through the radiator. And then if we are wanting to get into overclocking or have a super chilled system, that's where we can do the ultimate push-pull, having fans on both sides, and that brings air in and pulls air out super quick and super fast.
Gotcha. Excellent description. Now we've got over on the Facebook side, Alvin Dullanovio says, "Good day. If I love to play StarCraft, Prison Tales, CS:GO, Call of Duty, Minecraft, and Fortnite, and I have a budget of $1,500 to $1,600. Can you build me a custom PC for that?" I'll tell you what we can do. Yeah, definitely. And if you haven't had a chance, head on over to our website, clxgaming.com. I will definitely go through that here towards the end of the show. But you can get started there. I would definitely recommend taking a look at our RTS builds. So the ready-to-ship models are pre-built, but at least you can get an idea of about what that price range is looking at, so that you know that you're not going to overspend your budget, but you're going to get the most bang for your buck. And that's the real key right there. Yeah. If that makes any sense. Speaking of things that make sense, let's talk about the case right here. Now, this is our CLX set Obelisk. It's coming in white. Now, one of the cool things I love about this case is because, unlike other cases, this case has the white rubber. What the hell is a rummer? Rubber grommets that really do match into the case very, very nicely. And I can see Zack's fingers poking through. But the rubber grommets actually make it it just looks prettier for starters. It also helps keep airflow going through specific places instead of leaking out into other areas. Yeah. Over on the TikTok side, can you recommend a good gaming keyboard? I have the Booting PHE and the Logitech TKL 915.
Yeah. The Logitech one. That one's a great one.
You mean this one?
Mine's Oh, you got the new one. I have the 2017 915. That's the one I want.
Because you can get that with and without the 10 key. I like the low profile feature of it because it's easier to manage. But we carry a ton of different keyboards when it comes to that. So there are lots of options, and I'm fairly certain that for appropriate sake, I can't necessarily endorse anything. Okay. We carry many different amazing keyboards, mice, headphones. Yes. There we go. If that answers it without me breaking any rules. I miss the Logitech G515 original with the 18 macro keys, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. That was a banger of a mouse. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. TKL white low profile. Yeah, Colin. That deserves a follow. Hell yeah. Let's go, buddy. Let's go. I like it. Yeah, no, I have not wrist issues, I would say, but I prefer the low profile as opposed to like the full size keys. It just, for me, it's easier for me to use with my hands. So, and I use this is my little cloud wristy band thing. Wrist rester, I guess you would call it.
Well, that's nice.
Alvin Ray, welcome. Popping back over to the green side. Hey, the Green Garage is over on the Twitter side. Hello. How are you? Good to see you again. And what's going on? And yes, the keyboards. Yeah, I love me some keyboards. Here's the thing. When it comes to keyboards for me, and it's just me, okay, I really like something that's going to last. And I have been through some keyboards before I linked up with Logi, and oftentimes I found the keyboards didn't last very long for me. I have very strong hands. So, but yeah, these have lasted forever. I love it. So I dig it a lot. I see that James Alcott, you have a Corsair K70. Nice. And a K90 in the other. There you go. Your G15 is 20 years old. Again. Longevity is important. The rainy day looks it's like a day and all day into Wednesday. Yes. For those of you who don't know, so for those in the Pacific Northwest, it is definitely a rainy day. I'm loving it because it always smells incredible out here. At least in Oregon or in Washington, when it rains, it smells good. It's lots of fun. Starla Collins on the blue side. Maybe slow down so we can actually see what dude is doing. Well, I'll tell you what, this is actually him going slow. So let's go ahead and talk about what you've done real fast, since Starla does bring up a decent point, and sometimes our speedy people are really, really fast. Sorry. So you mounted it into the case.
Yes.
Right? So can you talk about what those silver outlined holes are and why you want to screw it to that?
So these are standoff holes, and underneath our motherboard we install a little standoff. What this essentially does is it acts as a ground for the motherboard. It keeps the motherboard up off of the metal chassis, and that allows it to kind of, just have its own ground unit. Each of these kind of just acts as like a little grounding rod that's on, barns and houses and stuff like that. And ideally you want to populate all of the holes that are available. On most standard ATX motherboards, that will be 9. This being a lovely ASRock motherboard, ASRock has a 7th hole or a 10th hole right underneath the PCI slot right here. So I like adding this one because as with our reinforced PCI slot, it just adds a little bit more security for when we're running those big old graphics cards.
Yeah. Speaking of big old graphics cards, I was thinking of a code, and I'll tell you what, Ivory just dropped one. You got a new code. It is worth 50 entries into the giveaway. It is PMIC-PAL9, PAL9. Not like Pall Mall, but PAL9. Papa Alpha Lima 9. There we go. Firecracker on the purple side says, my son is an i9 with a 240 AIO. Been having some heating issues. Does he need to go to a 360 or will a push-pull setup work? That, my friend, is a great question.
Is it stock or has it been tuned and played with, like overclocked? If we are overclocking it, then a 360 would probably be for the better, because with overclocking comes pushing boundaries. With pushing boundaries comes you want to have equipment that can push those boundaries properly, like a good athlete. You don't want to strain your system. You want to have all of the right equipment for it. But if it's a stock unit, push-pull would probably help you a lot to get those numbers down. But again, if we are tuning it in any way, I would probably recommend going to 360.
So I had my previous, this is before I got connected over here with CLX. Hey, the previous gaming PC that I have that's now sitting as a paperweight under my desk was an i9 9900K. Now, I'm not going to call it the manufacturers. I'm just going to say that i9 9900K, which is an overclockable i9, was being cooled by a 120 AIO push-pull. Zach, at what point would that ever be appropriate? I had to take the sides off just to keep it from overheating.
Yeah, on not AM5 or 14th or 13th series Intel, that's maybe doable.
Yep. There we go. Jump back down on here. First of all, I want to say a huge shout out to the Green Garage for chatting with us over on Twitter. You realize how rare it is I get people actually chatting over there, which is great stuff. You're not hearing a whine personally? Dear Lord. Oh, Pal World. I guess I could have referenced that as a game. That's a thing. Now, one thing I want to talk about real fast is what Zack is doing right now. Now, on the back of this case, we've got some really great organizational elements to really help with the cable management. Zack, you're plugging something into a very small PCB. What is that?
Yes, so this is our fan hub. A lot of times you guys will see the exact same fan hub. It's just in a plastic housing. But on our cases that we have, it comes pre-mounted on standoffs, just like the motherboard is. So it is safe and secure. And I am plugging all of my fans in sequential order because I like doing it that way, so that if I have a fan in spot 4 that's glowing but not spinning, I can come back here and look at where it's plugged in and easily troubleshoot.
There we go. And back over to the TikTok side, Colin. Yeah, for me, I love the low profiles. I went from a pro series to the low pro to this one, and while I love that it can be, I just love how fast it is. It is exceedingly responsive for being a wireless keyboard, but I can also just plug it in. So either way. Speaking of either way, there are so many different ways for you to actually get all of your cables into the back of your PC. So if you are building a PC, now would be the time to ask some cable management questions, because I'm about to ask some cable management questions. And we're going to start with, how do you determine which cables go where?
I like breaking tie-ups into 3 different cable groups, where we have our fan cables, which is what I'm trying to get all nice and pretty looking now. And then after this, I will jump to our case cables, which I have lovingly pushed out of the way for right now. And then after that, we will plug in our power cables, which will be our power supply cables. Makes it a lot easier by just kind of separating things out and getting them all plugged in that way.
Yes, agreed. Wait, what? Hold on. Chat's not working on my end, and Ivory says try banging out like an old CRT TV. The sad thing is that worked for so long on so many of our TVs growing up. Oh, that's amazing. And for those of you who don't know what a CRT TV is, that is what we watched back when I had hair. We're just gonna leave that whole thing alone. So up next, we've got some zip ties going in, and then we'll deal with our case.
My favorite was the little 19-inch TV with the VHS player on it for road trips.
Oh God, right?
Little fun fact about that 19-inch TV. Many of you people, if you've not seen a 19-inch screen, look it up real quick. My neighbor and I beat Halo on a 19-inch split screen. And that was how we beat Halo. It was epic. You want to know how big your screen is? About how big DJ's screen is on the monitor. That's how big a 19-inch split screen.
It's split screen. And it's split screen. That's the killer, is that it's just like, you're already on, and then you've got to do it like this.
Yep.
Oh my God, it's just, no. But at the same time, real quick to answer a question. Voodoo Gaming, hi, what up? I already have a GPU. Can I order a RAW without it? You know what? You can just give a call over to customer service and see what they can help you out with on that one. Okay? Oh, everybody, that way everybody's in the loop. I am not smart enough to make those decisions. Cesar Gomez says, question, what can I run on an Asus B450F gaming motherboard?
B450, a lot of equipment. Maybe not like a X3D processor, high-end one, but
Yeah, I would definitely check the compatibility with the menu. If you look up the board number in the Go Ogly, it will take you to their page and you can take a look at what it's compatible with. What I was going to say is when I was training for Griffball, because for those of you who don't know, I have a championship title in Griffball. When we were training for Griffball, I was taught how to what we call radar tanking, which was you focus like 90% of the time you're not looking at everything that's actual play is in your periphery or this side. You're staring at the radar because you could tell as soon as based on the motion of the dots how close you were and if you were within an actual reasonable range to either knock their shields, pop them back, or just straight up take them out. And so I ended up, because my coach said to, got a giant piece of rice paper, which is, rice paper is like or like a tracing paper. Mm-hmm. So you can see colors through it, but I put it all over the TV and then cut the square out where the radar was. Mm-hmm. And I would get into matches and started learning how to see what I was doing based on the position of the dots. Wow. And then the general shapes of color that I was seeing here to my side. And that's how I did it. And I won. Our team destroyed everybody. It was great. Which has nothing to do with what we're doing right now. So, back to the point of order. We are getting back into talking about our case cables. Now, for those of you who might not know what case cables are, that's just the cables that come with the case. Now, what are the case cables attached to?
So our case cables that we have today are our power buttons. We have USB 3.0s, a Type-C, and then our audio head and mic jacks. So with this one, we had a Type-C plug-in, a Type-3 plug-in, and then our basic audio, and then our front panel headers.
Omex says split screen poggers. Love it. And of course that was back when we called it the tube TVs. Yes, there were tube TVs technically. And that was also back when people thought Trinitron TVs were flat screens. Nope. They're not. They have a flat screen, but it's still a tube TV. That's not how it works. Oh my gosh. I will say I remember, oh God, it was like PAX West 2015, I think. We were all meeting up over at Jeff Easterling's house, who was the franchise writer for Halo, and we had a huge barbecue over there because we usually did that for PAX West weekends. And I remember it was me, John Unishek, Ghostiami, Bravo, and I want to say it was Mike. Mike was on the far side. And we're all playing, but we're playing Halo 2 on quad split screen.
Yes!
I have never heard Unishek, who is one of the nicest, calmest, and politest people in the world, go from 0 to stop screen peeking. Yeah. Like, I didn't even know you could talk that loud, buddy. That's incredible. You know what else is incredible? The variance and juxtaposition of the black and white on this board, I love it. It looks good. Now we're on the back. Now this is one of the things that we call a full flush motherboard case.
Correct.
Situation, because the motherboard sits on the back of the case. So unlike ones where you've seen us do 2/3 or 3/4 builds, where it's got that gap in the back. So this is going to be very different in how the cable management is being handled because there isn't a lot of space between that wall because that back panel is just going to sit right on top of it. So what are some considerations in the event that you have a case and you're trying to build this out on a case like this about where to go with your cable management?
So with this guy right here, you can really see that we've got all of these connection spots. And you can tell I've already got my case line done on one rung there. And then I've got my fan line pushed in here. We can have another line there. So different cases will offer different ways to hold and manage your cables. So with these guys, I really like these eyelets. They're really nice for tying down, but nothing beats having ribs and Velcro straps.
Yes, agreed. I don't know why I had to say like an evil emperor. Do it. There we go. Reaper, what's going on? Hello. How are you? This build is looking great. Honestly, Source of Croy, I totally agree. From zero to hero. Making sure I got all of our questions answered.
Correct. The cables do not get overheated.
Survivor says, man, I bet his house is organized like his builds.
Thank you.
I'll tell you whose is not. This guy. Nope. Sorry. You would think that, especially given my military background, I would have a better hold on organization. And I don't know. It escapes me on so many different levels. So, speaking of things that you don't want to escape, and that's going to be your graphics cards. Let's talk about what we're shoving in here. We're putting in an NVIDIA RTX 4060 Ti. Now, this is a 2-fan variant of this. Although, I don't remember, we've seen a couple 3-fan versions, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so this is the Zotac Gaming, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The amp.
So, obviously, one of the things it's their amp version. Nice. It is, one of the things I love is not only their framing, but it's curved. And from a visual aesthetic standpoint, it looks really great. And sorry, I just saw the bear comment, Damon. But the cool thing that I love about the Zotacs, if you look at the actual input panel on that very end, they've actually tagged it. They have tagged it, and it looks amazing. Like that, brilliant. Hello, that's perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this little guy in there now. RTX 4060, and this is a Ti too, so this is a fast one. Yeah. It is a 6 gig card. Yeah. And when it comes to
16,
when it comes to all things, what?
16
gig.
16.
You are
16.
Wow. My information is wrong. It's a 16 gigs on a 4060. That's rad.
Right?
That is going to bump. That's
it's so fast. I can't
hold
it.
Really well. I dig it. I dig it. That's cool. Obviously, 4060 Ti's are now part of the latest releases from NVIDIA when it comes to their new Ti and Supers, which, that's a good question that I'm going to ask before somebody else gets a chance to. What's the biggest difference between a Ti and a Super?
So the best way that I can word it to where my brain understands it, and I still have to ask Paul and David which level the Ti, the Super, and the Super Ti are at. But imagine one of them has 70% of what a 4090 can offer, and then the next step up has 75%, and that would be your Ti, and then step up a little bit would be 80%, and that would be a Ti Super. That's kind of how I see it in my brain, but I always forget which level comes where with Ti, Super, and Super Ti. Yeah. Because if they're just going to label them like that, why can't we just label it Super D-Duper instead of Super Ti? I'd much rather have a Super D-Duper card than a Super Ti. So
I don't know. I feel like the people who own the rights to Barney, God forbid, would have an issue. Violet Echo says, how would you best know if parts are compatible or if the case you got is too small so the components wouldn't be cluttered?
So most case manufacturers will have a case manual, and inside that case manual there will be a diagram showing how big of a heat distribution source the processor can take. Usually that's a depth height for the glass. And then they will also have another how big of a graphics card diagram in there, and that's going to be like how long the card is. As you can see, we've got lots of length here. And then as far as making sure all of your other components are compatible with each other, one thing Paul and I highly recommend is doing a power calculator, power output calculator, right? And that will, you'll put in your processor and your graphics card, and that will tell you how much power you need so that you don't have a power supply unit as a bottleneck.
Here we go.
Paul is with his
Paul today?
children. He's hanging out with his kiddos.
He challenged Bumblebee to a race. And now we have to live without him. But I'll tell you what we aren't going to live without, and it's called a power supply unit. What we do have right now for this build is a Game Deus Kratos, the 750 watt, 80 plus bronze RGB. Now, obviously, this is a non-modular, but
correct.
Zach, do you want to walk through what the difference between non-modular, semi-modular, and modular are?
So non-modular means that there is no modularity to the system. What it is set up as is what it is going to be. You can't add, you can't take away from. So all of our cables right here are going to be soldered into the system. When you get into different weights of power supplies, that is going to have different cables for that are pre-attached to it. And then there are hybrids, which are going to have your 24-pin, a CPU cable, and a VGA cable usually soldered into it. And then all of these other cables are going to be plug-ins. And then after that, we have the boss fight of no cables in the back. We get to plug everything into it. If we want sweet looking colored cables, we can install sweet looking colored cables that match up with it. So modular cable or modular power supplies don't have cables attached to them. Some power supplies even don't come with cables. They come with a coupon for the cables because they want you to buy cable mod kits. They're awesome.
That gives me a headache. Just saying that. Here, we gave you a power supply that you bought, but we're not going to give you cables for it.
It's so cool.
10% off of getting those. What? Mm-hmm. Got to go back to the store again?
It's
all right. Awesome. Where's codes today? The codes are here in chat. That's about all I got for you. Yeah, it's very Scooby. Sure. With that being said, by the way, today during the break, we've got a really cool video we'll talk about here just in a little bit. And for those of you who are at the Level Up Expo, you know what's coming. And then our very own Damon of Sin over on the Kick side, in need of temperance, got me Outlast Trials.
Outlast.
Oh no, who got me Outlast Trials? Somebody got me Outlast Trials, but and it's, oh my lord, scary.
What is that?
Lots of
Outlast.
Did you ever play Outlast?
Yeah, that's
the original Outlast was
game.
It's run, hide, or actually no, maybe it was McGee. I think McGee might have sent it to me. It was run, hide, or die is what the original Outlast is, right? And basically you're in a similar situation. You have to. It's a real life. Oh my God, panic moment.
Nice
game. Where there's it again. You either run, you hide, or you die. There's not a lot of options in between. Oh, that's right. Yep. I did get the Aliens game, by the way, which I'm excited for that. I'm super excited for that.
AVP?
Why is codes today? I'm not sure what that question means, but I'll tell you what, here's one to just moisten your whistle. It came out worse than I intended. CRBN, that's carbon without the vowels, dash 58 HS, 58 high schools, 58 Kilo Sierra. Hotel Sierra. Thanks, is Ivory. Yes. Now we need the when and why. Sometimes, oh God, all I can remember is my my niece when she was going through her terrible fives, the why questions, the constant why questions, and I just started making things up because why not? You know, why is bread sliced? Because that's how it comes. Why? Because that's what giraffes need to use in order to eat, because they don't have opposable thumbs. Why? Because they got into an argument with elephants. The elephants took them, and now giraffes can't have them. Why? Have you ever heard of seals?
The Navy
Never
kind?
asked them a yes or no question. Oh, no, I was trying to talk her out so she'd just stop asking questions and go take a nap. It's like, good Lord. Yeah, it's always. They're special. Boy, don't worry about it. Wait, what? Someone said there was codes today, and then they were getting trolled. Oh, catching up on all the chats. You're going to love it in an instant. Okay, now speaking of things we love plugging things in. Now, this is a little bit of a different style of power connector because it's a smaller and less demanding card. What do we have for this?
So this is a single VGA 8-pin. VGA 8 pins are made up with a 6x2.
There we go.
Those guys are what plug into any graphics card. There are other 8x8s, or 8 pins, but those are 4x4s, and those are for our CPU. So there is a difference between CPU and VGA power cables.
Yes. Well, and it's also funny. James also comments. Yeah, they have thumbs on their feet. Well, it was funny because there's a family of opossums that live behind my house, and they live between the rear planter bay and the fence line. And periodically, it will happen that the Great Danes will be needed to go out at night, and then it happens to be when the possum is out scrounging for food if I haven't left it anything. And man, it does not like my dogs. They're adorable, but he just panics and freezes and hisses, and the dog's like, what is this? I gotta get between the dogs and the possum and then just bump it on the butt so that it moves forward, and it knows to hide behind me now. And I have to like grab it by the butt and just like to get it over the wall, because if it's in a taller spot on the wall, I'm like, all right, you're gonna need help.
Run, Barry, run!
Run! Don't let them get you! Don't let them bully you, little possum. I should call him Pete. Pete the possum. When is Lucky Nicole's #1 code coming?
Oh, Pete the opossum.
The OP. Pete the opossum. OP. Let's call him OP. There you go. I haven't seen any plus ones for a minute. Oh, there we go. All right, production said hello. Did I say hi? Oh, OP. That's right. Okay, there we go. Taking a look, making sure we don't have any questions from anybody. Yeah, they just like very much like raccoons or koalas or
skunks,
kangaroos. They all have five digits with thumbs.
I thought you were going to say friendly.
I will say, until
hugs.
I met my first kangaroo, I didn't realize that their fingers are also giant talons, which
puts boxing into a whole new perspective.
Oh God, yeah. So there's a picture of me feeding one, and she was pregnant, and she had one paw on my stomach, I think to feel whether or not I was going to panic, and the other paw was holding onto my hand while she was eating food out of my hand, and it was super cute. But yeah, that's when I noticed. Look at your murder mittens. Those things are terrifying. Hello, Clinton. What's going on? Yes. So, we're getting up towards the end of our tie-up. Which means it's time. Is it time for me to take them on an adventure?
Yeah, here in a little bit. Yeah. Let me do
In a little bit.
things.
In the meantime,
One more thing.
they were making sure you didn't flee with the food. Actually, that's probably more of an accurate assessment of the situation. I did not. I don't think I left the kangaroo area for a while. We just hung out. And the little Joeys, which, man, the mother kangaroos are very specific about, all right, if I let my child get near you, no sudden moves. Yeah. But it was really cool. They're just tiny.
Alrighty.
Until they get gigantic. All right. Now it looks like we're getting things towards the final stage. So the one thing that I would love to show you all is how you can stage your opportunity to get your hands on an amazing PC. Let's head on over to clxgaming.com. All right, you guys know the drill. This is our website at clxgaming.com, and it's awesome for so many reasons. And let's start with the fact that you can build your computer in any size or design that you want. We have big ones, medium-sized ones, smaller ones, and tiny ones. We've got ones that are inside of each other. We've got a PC inside. That sounded worse. It's called a Hawthorne. Look it up. And you can choose everything about this. We carry everything from AMD to Intel, NVIDIA, Radeon. We've got tons of different manufacturers when it comes to all the different RAM that you can choose, your hard drives, M.2s, you name it. And I noticed this question earlier, but like, but what happens if I don't know what the heck I'm doing? Well, that's okay. We have a compatibility filter, which means that if you can take a look, you notice that little green button that turned yellow? Well, in the event that, say, you choose a motherboard that's, designed for a DDR5 RAM, but you've chosen DDR4 RAM, it's going to say, all right, if you want to keep this motherboard up here, you're going to have to choose one of these DDR4 RAMs. But if you want to use this motherboard, you're going to have to choose one of these RAMs. And so it gives the option to fix the problem. Once you've solved it, you've selected the right thing, that little yellow button turns back to green, and we all know what that means. Kermit the Frog. No, it means you're good to go and golden. Now, that's just part of it. We have so many different options that you can select, whether you're wanting to choose to overclock your GPU, your CPU, or both. We can get you open loop or closed loop liquid cooling. You can even upgrade your thermal paste, which is a lot of fun. And then there's our accessories area, which is fantastic because you've got everything from t-shirts like this. Oh, yes. Get that brand going, baby. Including our hoodies, the purples, the grays, the reds. God, I love them all. And we've even got, because I know there's a bunch of you out there, we've got streaming gear. We've got capture cards. We've got BEACN mix crates and BEACN mics, and trust me when I say they are absolutely awesome. And then everything else in between, whether you're looking for headphones, keyboards, mice, speakers, routers, even chairs. We've got monitors. We've got basically it's a one-stop shopping center for everything. Now, I know that's a lot of information, and people often get a little bit like, oh God, that's so much at once. Don't worry. We have an RTS section, that's our ready to ship section, where we have fully assembled PCs that have already been tested and are looking for a new home, and who knows, that home might just be yours. So check it out. We've got multiple different entry levels from high end to, I would say, to mid-range and down. Like, you've got options. It's also a great way to take a look and go, okay, well, I see what this can do. Maybe I can play with this as a baseline and then change the things you want to change. It's all right there. It gives you a great idea of what you can pull. And so therefore, it makes this the best place to grab your PC from. So for all your future PC needs, head on over to clxgaming.com and see what we can do for you. There we go. Da-da-dun-da-dun-dun. I did my commercial. Okay. Now, the one thing we want to do is also make sure we do have rear fans on there. Because otherwise, how is Zack going to dry his hair?
I don't know.
But what is that stylized grip right there? He's all like, I'm a pimp, let's go. The upside down reverse grab was great. Is it going to be a yummy build? I agree, Violent Echo. I think it's going to be awesome. And it's not the only one he's doing today. We'll talk about that in a second for sure. Boom, 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 boom.
Just have one RGB cable that I had to plug in. I forgot.
No worries. It is always that important thing. Firecracker says, I expect to see some wedding pics next week, Zach. All right, can we talk about that for a second? Because guess what?
Go for it.
Zach is about to get married. Yeah. And I don't have an applause track but I wish I had one. So, but yes, we're so excited and so happy for him. So he will not be here Thursday.
Correct.
Because he will be getting married. And then they'll be going to Aruba by way of a very old
ferry.
There we go. I'm not sure where I was going with that, but I was trying.
Okay, there's that.
Is Paul building or is Hayden coming back? Damon, that's a good question. I think I'm just gonna have Paul. That beautiful hard snap right there. Yeah. This is gonna look good. I'm digging it. This is gonna be fun.
Holler at me if I have fingerprints on there.
Crouselator, yes, there have been some codes that have been given out today.
And I do apologize for building this so quickly.
Firecracker. I don't know.
Nice.
I don't know if that's helpful or not, so I'm going to say it anyways. Firecracker says, was the one who said, I expect to see some wedding pics next week, Zach. It's so great. I've done it twice. I'm just going to leave that one alone. All right, here we go. Are we ready? Let's do it. Hey, look at that.
There we go.
Lots of colors, lots of brights. That's the one thing I love about white cases. They really do reflect the color really well.
Oh, yes.
It shines. It's cool. Okay, let's go back over what we've got in this incredible build for us to test. Because that's what we do. This is a CLX set Obelisk white that's mounted with an Intel Core i7 14700KF processor on an ASRock B760 Pro RS Wi-Fi motherboard. It's got 32 gigs of GIL DDR5 5600 RAM with an RTX 4060 Ti and 16 gigs of video memory. We've got a 2TB Patriot P300 M.2 for the storage, and our CPU is going to be cooled by a CLX Quench 240 AIO in black, as well as 6 GameDius AORUS fans, and of course powered by that GameDius Kratos 750 watt 80 plus bronze power supply. And also, for those people that had missed the previous codes, our friend Ivory dropped another one, and it's HCLX. Holy CLX MNOP.
LMNOP.
No L, just MNOP.
CLX MNOP.
Just an M. Yes, Michael November Oscar Papa. That is our code. Yes. Now, today's show is going to happen in 2 parts as usual. In just a few, we're going to take a break, and you're going to come back to hang out with Zack for an entire afternoon while he builds more things and celebrates his final 48 hours of being a single man. So we're taking a lot of single engaged, non-married. We'll just say that. Now, with that being said, when we take a break, we're going to do something really cool and show you this amazing video that Jason and Kyle and I shot over many days in Vegas, and it is fantastic. I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited for you to see all the lights shining off of my head. But this show happens every Tuesday and Thursdays, starting at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern, right here. We'll give out codes usually for the green channel, that is kick.com/CLXgaming on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, we're going to head over to the purple side. That's twitch.tv/CLXgamingtv. And then, of course, You can also find codes potentially on our social media. You can also catch up with the latest and greatest of what we're doing on social media, and that is CLX Gaming at YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. You can also find codes and a bunch of like-minded PC enthusiasts and gamers over at our Discord. That is discord.gg/CLX Gaming. You can also find codes on my channel, and I'll have one today once you're done. But with that being said, on behalf of on behalf of Kyle and Jason, I almost said Paul's name. Paul is on vacation or out, and Zach, I'm DJ Blue PDX. Don't go away. We got more coming up after this incredible video. Jason, take it away.
Bye.
Hello everybody, it's DJ Blue PDX live here in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada for the Level Up Expo. Let's go inside and see what's happening. From PC free play to system building, CLX Foundry Live's crew is right here in Las Vegas, Nevada as one of the official sponsors for the Level Up Expo. Right now, thousands of people have already lined up and they're all on their way in. Let's check it out and see what they're going to do. One of the best things that CLX is so proud of being able to provide for this event is over 350 different PCs for gamers. Whether you're competing, whether you're going to free play, our systems are there and they're ready to rock and roll. Plus, there's also consoles. There's one thing that goes hand in hand with anime, it's Fast and Furious cars. Behind me are over a dozen different cars ranging from BMW, Acura, Infiniti, Subaru, you name it, they've got it. We even got a Ford Mustang over here with some of the most amazing designs ever. Let's check it out. Beside me is a CLX set PC that we designed in partnership with AMD, featuring Ryzen processors and Radeon graphics cards. These PCs have been used by thousands of gamers from LA all the way to Boston. And now, people here at Level Up Expo are going to get a chance to find out what robust gaming feels like. Welcome to CLX Foundry Live, IRL. I am your host, DJ Blue PDX, and joining me right now on his stage is our lead technical expert, Paul Steffens, and our master builder, it is Zack Killingsworth.
We've got a custom design here for the Level Up Con. So starting off with our processor, we've got a Ryzen 7 7800X 3D. To cool that, we've got our CLX Quench 360 AIO in black. For our motherboard, we've got the Asus TUF Gaming B650 Plus Wi-Fi.
So this is actually going to be the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D. This is one of the newer processors from the folks over at AMD, and it's pretty incredible.
So the X3D feature is something new that AMD's been doing, and it's a way of vertically stacking your cache. So cache is essentially memory for your processor, and what they've been able to do is stack it on top of the processor die, which gives you a bigger surface area, so you can fit more cache on there, which just equates to better performance. This is an 8-core 16-thread processor, base speed of 4.2, and it will boost up to 5.0. Yeah, so let's say you win this and you want to add your drives into this PC. Yeah, you totally can. Do you have like, if you got an M.2, there's 2 slots at the bottom, so you won't need to pull the motherboard out all the way, and you probably won't even need to pull the video card out, but it's just 2 screws covering that and then a locking tab to put it in.
It's an incredible card here. This is our Radeon card. Well, it's not ours. It's our wonderful friends at AMD who gave it to us. By the way, one more time, shout out for AMD for providing us all this fun stuff here.
It's Radeon RX 7000 XT, as you just mentioned, DJ. So this is their dual model. Typically what they mean with that is 2 fans, but it does kind of refer to the shroud around it. So a lot of this is see-through. I really like these. I think they look good in the case. Obviously this is black, it's going to match everything inside. We've got a nice back plate on the back that just looks good when it's in, and 3 display ports and 1 HDMI out.
I want to bring up somebody who's going to be helping with all of you. Now, once again, let's hear some noise if you want to win this PC. Introduce you to Christopher Yee. Give it a big round of applause up on stage.
It's him.
Let's go! The winner of our level up Expo PC. Behind me is our competitive PC gaming stage. It's going to be used all throughout the weekend. We've got 10 total Horus NV5 machines from CLX that are going to be here right now. They're about to go head-to-head, 5v5. Our shoutcasters are getting ready to start. Let's see how they do. As you can see, thousands of attendees have already lined up to meet some of their favorite artists, cosplayers, and voice actors. For example, like KG Tang, who's right behind me, Christopher Judge will be here this weekend, and so many more. You have some incredible artwork here. Tell us what this is.
So this is me and my husband, Gojo Satoru. I'm going voice actor sign-in today, so I'm very excited because I love Gojo a lot.
I voice Ucha in One Piece Film Red, Maureen in My Dress Up Darling, among many, many others. Very happy to be here.
This is as an experience, meeting your fans and getting to interact with people on a one-to-one basis.
It's really awesome. I stream a lot in my free time, so it's really cool to get to meet people that come to my channel. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys are real. That's crazy. And it's just really awesome. I've been doing content creation for 17, 18 years now, so it's really wild to see fans from all different years. It's kind of wild.
That is cool, and we've obviously seen some great cosplays coming through of the characters. You recognize when you see them. How is that for them?
Oh, it's really cool. I think it's really awesome because some of them have been fans forever but haven't had a chance to come to a con that I'm at. Usually we're passing like ships in the night, but it's really cute to be able to see them dressing up and they're getting to meet all of their favorite actors in the flesh, and I think it's really humbling as well to be able to meet those fans that love and appreciate the work that we've done.
This is Evie and Lana. What was it like getting to meet somebody that you were such a huge fan of?
She was just so sweet and accommodating.
This is my first time ever meeting a voice actor, and I'm so excited. I was so excited to finally meet her and get an autograph.
Next to me here is Christopher Judge. You have done everything from Stargate to obviously God of War, plus X-Men and a multitude of other things. You could have been all over the place, from behind the scenes as a voice actor to football, but also as a writer. Right. So let's start at the beginning. When did this all start for you?
Well, the acting part of it started when I was very young. I saw a movie called Sounder, and I was so emotionally torn up by it. I said, that's what I want to do to people. You know, my journey, at least, you know, what I wanted to do in life has been simple, because this is it.
Then you got into the voice acting, and this is one of those things, like, honestly, when God of War came to PC, I flipped out because I went to PC as a player and got to finally play it and immediately knew whose voice I was hearing. Had you played any of the God of War games before you got the role?
No, but my kids all played. When I auditioned, I didn't even know it was God of War. It was my son who kind of said, Daddy, I think this is God of War. I didn't want to do it initially, but when they said, no, it's filmed, it's like you are the character, hit home with me that it was just a regular acting job. This was a part that I've waited my entire career for, so.
When it comes to being able to go to these events and meet your fans, I mean, we saw the lines were just all the way down to the cars. It was wild. How is that as an interaction for you?
But this is the reward, you know, when people saying that how it changed their relationships with their parents, or or with their kids. I mean, that's kind of the real reward. You know what I mean? That something you do actually resonates with someone.
Yeah.
There's no greater reward.
One of the coolest features that you can ever get when coming to a con is getting to meet people that actually make you feel like you are in the universe. Joining me right now is Alice and Tabitha, who is obviously coming right out of Star Wars. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's so much fun here.
Tell me a little about this, because this is not easy to create.
So I got the Lego from JD Props, I think.
Okay.
And then I actually found these pieces of clothing at a thrift shop, and I cut them up and I like hemmed them and changed the seams and stuff to, do it on a budget.
So now you do not only just cosmetics, but you also do the sewing and the crafting, but you also do more than just Star Wars.
Yes, I do a lot of different characters from a lot of different movies, video games, anime, and a lot more.
Now, what's been your favorite so far to just really dive into?
I do Edward Scissorhands, and that has been one of my favorite movies growing up. I also did Jareth from Labyrinth, which is my all-time favorite.
Wow.
I know. I do a lot of different characters that I love so much, so it's hard. I've done like over 200, so.
And I'll be honest, the first time I ever saw you was Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that's one of my fan favorites, so.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. One of the biggest things at these shows is always the Artist Alley, where independent artists can come and actually sell their work, which is amazing. From hand-painted elements to drawn to printed, they have come up with some incredible designs, and it's an awesome opportunity to collect some of your favorite characters through somebody else's vision. At the Level Up Expo, we are surrounded by fighting games where people are taking each other to task when it comes to fighting your opponent. But some people decide to take it hand to hand. Check it out. Are we ready, Level Up? While some people might think the gaming started in a multitude of different places, when it comes to video games, it truly started in the arcades. Here at the Free Play Arcade for Level Up Expo, we've got a little bit of everything from old school to new school and awesome. CLX partnered with our friends at Intel to provide over 200 different machines for people to come in and play on and compete on, and it's all right behind me. I'm sitting next to the CLX set. This PC was designed specifically to be taken around the country through dozens of shows, been played on by thousands and thousands of players, and it's all because we teamed up with Intel to ensure that they got a great opportunity to experience high-performance gaming. Yesterday, Christopher Yee gave away a PC for us. Now he's building an entirely separate unit to give away again. Now, you want to make sure you catch his YouTube shorts, because there's going to be something interesting in there. All right, everybody, we are at the Level Up Expo here back in the Free Play Arena with all the PCs, and as per usual, I've got the boys here, and yeah, we're going to be putting together a PC. Obviously, we've got our lead technical expert, Paul Steffens, and today's master builder, Zack Killingsworth. I'm BJWPDX. Gentlemen, we've got parts and things to put together. Comes to attaching it to your standoff.
Yeah, so your motherboard's going to have a few different holes kind of all around it. What you're looking for the motherboard mounting holes is there's some silver solder lands. I'm sure you guys are getting a shot of it in there.
Here, he's pulling all of the fan cables through so we can get that radiator locked in up on top. This has some great RGBs right here. And that lights up all the way around it. So this case comes with some automatic lighting as it is, plus these fans. Let's talk about the fans real quick.
Yeah, so these are the Game DS AORUS M2s. If y'all have watched the show before, you've definitely seen us use these. We do have these in black and white. So the best thing to do for cable management is to break it down into 3 different parts. That's what we like to do. Typically, we start out with the case cable, so those power buttons we talked about and the USBs on top, get those plugged in and managed. And then we'll do our fans and get those done, and then we'll put in our power supply and manage those ones.
The MSI GeForce 4060, right? It's an RTX card, that 3rd generation of ray tracing. It's an excessively powerful card, great for gaming.
If we look deep down in here, you can see the actual PCB of the card. It's actually kind of short.
Yeah.
So that's the actual card with the GPU itself. Now everything else around it is to cool that. So we've got a large heat spreader that comes out to here in this open area with these fins and our heat pipes that you can see from both sides. Those flow through there, take the heat this way, and the fans blow it all away.
3 different types of power supplies. Paul, what are those?
So you've got modular, non-modular, and semi-modular. And what we have here is a non-modular. So that means all of our cables are pre-soldered in, as you can see right here.
This little box right here, what did you do? What is that?
So this is our fan hub, our fan controller for GameDius. I just have everything plugged in order, in sequential order, so that if anything was to happen, if we didn't have a fan spinning or a fan glowing, I would know exactly which fan it is. DJ, if you would be kind to push that lever back. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to want to hold the card like this.
Okay.
And then we want to slowly line up from this side here. We want to look down, and then we'll look on the back side back here. Perfect. And then push down. Boom!
Okay, one thing we didn't really get a chance to cover because it was already on the motherboard is that processor. It's a really powerful processor. It's an i5 14600K. Tell me about this processor.
Yes, this is a 14-core, 20-thread processor. So it's got 6 performance cores that have hyper-threading on them, so that gives us 12 cores, and then 8 efficiency cores. It has a base speed of 3.5, and it will boost up to 5.3. So this is a solid processor for any type of gaming.
That final Level Up Expo is getting some great gear. Now this is one of 2 systems that we've been putting together. Got it built, we've got the panels on. First of all, great job, Zach. It looks incredible. Let's go ahead and see how this beautiful beast looks. Love it, this is great. You've got that beautiful blue outside, you've got the green on the card, and all of the RGBs, including that beautiful power shroud. I'm excited to see who's gonna win this today, and of course we're excited to see Christopher Yee build his, which is gonna be just like this one. Okay, so yesterday we did an amazing show in the conference room upstairs for building the first PC that Christopher Yee gave away. Then, today, we built this one, and Christopher was like, you know what? I'm gonna build one and give this one away. So, let's talk about, first of all, this beautiful machine and walk me through the process of building it.
Okay, well, first of all, we built this on the show floor, literally. And then what we're doing is we've actually hidden a code throughout the short that I just shot that's going to air on my YouTube channel. And then it's going to be a giveaway code that viewers can decipher and then redeem for a free PC.
Calling all code breakers, come now. Okay, so, and now where's going to be able to find these?
On my YouTube channel, Christopher. There's a free PC in this short, and you have to find it. I'm serious. The first person to find the code in this short wins a free PC. No entries, no following, just straight up skill. Anyways, this PC was provided by CLX Gaming. For the processor, it has an Intel i7 14700KF. Inside, a Gigabyte Z790 for the motherboard. Coming with 32 gigabytes of XPG Lancer Blade RAM, and a 1TB ADATA M.2 NVMe SSD. The processor is cooled by a CLX Quench 360, and the whole PC is powered by a GameDius Kratos M1 750-watt power supply. Last but not least, for the GPU, we're using a Gigabyte WindForce RTX 4070. It's a very solid system, and it looks amazing. The pinned comment will tell you whether or not the computer's been claimed, so you know not to waste your time. Good luck, and don't forget.
What is up, Scooby Gang? I hope everybody enjoyed that sweet video. If you guys weren't there, definitely go hang out with us next time we go. It was a phenomenally fun trip and adventure of a lifetime for sure. Very excited that I was asked to go build on stage. Very, very fun. Alrighty. I have with me today one of my favorite Horus cases. This is the black NV5, and we are going to be slapping into it. This is another, just like our previous build, this is a future order for us. So getting it set up and everything, ready to go. So if you guys are trying to locate the previous Obelisk build or this build, they will be coming real soon. These are essentially our photographic models that get turned into the first RTSs, essentially. These guys are wicked awesome. And going into this one today, we've got a B650 PG Lightning motherboard. I do believe that is a brand new motherboard, so that's what we'll be playing with today. And a super sick 4070 graphics card by Zack, pretty similar to that 60 Ti that we just installed. And a 750 watt RGB power supply Kratos. And then I have all of my fun fans. I've got a 360 liquid cooler. We've got a 2 terabyte NVMe hard drive. And I want to say 32 gigabitties. Yeah, 32 gigabitties of 5600 megahertz. And this is where the 7s come in. We've got an AMD Ryzen 7 77X going on to that lightning of a motherboard. Okay, you guys know the drill. If you have any questions, ask them, shout them out into the universe, and I will do my very best to answer them for you. You are welcome. I was thoroughly excited and had a blast. We got to meet Roulette Nova. She came and said hello to DJ Paul and I, and we got a photo together. That was really cool. And then the system that was given away that we built up on stage, that gentleman also watches the show too. So it was very fun, very, very fun trip. Who was that on the YouTube short? So that was all of us that went to Las Vegas for the Level Up Expo. So oh, that would have been Christopher Yee. He is a YouTuber that we worked with while we were there. Sorry? Oh, someone has already won. Someone has won that system that he was giving away in that short. Someone figured out the code. They probably watched Inception at least 5 times, and that's why they're really good at breaking those puzzle codes. Okie dokie. This is sick. So very similar to our Intel board that we just built, but this is an AMD one. So we have roughly the same layout as before. We got a nice BIOS flash button, which is pretty fun for if we ever have to do any updates on our BIOS for our motherboard. Now, when we... Yes, yeah, sorry about that. Jason thought outside the box. I was thinking about the box. So when it comes to installing a processor onto a motherboard, one thing that I will usually do when opening up a prop cover is I will angle the board a little bit and put some light onto my pins. That's going to allow me to really look at my pins to make sure that everything is safe on them. You can see those bottom pins. You could really tell if this mirrored finish had any imperfections on it. And then we can rotate a little bit, and same thing with the top. There's no imperfections, no bent pins, so I can take my processor, which does have a key. My key is in the top left-hand corner, is a little gold triangle. And that triangle lines up to a little key on our motherboard in this corner as well. We also have a couple little dimples on the top and bottom that are offset, so it can only be installed one direction. And this is the same on every processor. It might not go in this direction, but it can only go in one way. Yes, there is a multiverse out there where everything can be plugged into everything. That's just not this verse. So, because I've missed. Yes, we do have some codes. Looks like Blue has them up. Codes are being posted to Kick today. Kick is our main Tuesday stream, so they will go there. Okay. Now, just came home from Circuit City, and you have your liquid cooler. With me today is an Aztec 360. Boop. And when it comes to installing retention kits, all of them are the same. They just use different hardware. So we want to make sure that we're using AMD's hardware when we are playing with Radeon parts, and Intel hardware when we are playing with Blue parts. And then it will also break deeper down into, there's a difference between AM4 and AM5. There's a difference between 10th, 11th gen Intel and 12th, 13th, 14th gen Intel. Then we also have Intel Extreme and Threadrippers. So there is quite a lot of different hardware that can possibly be used. Definitely want to make sure that we are using the proper kit out. Go to the back, you can't tell what it says. Nice. Ed59, you know, you're doing pretty good back there. All right, so with our AMD standoffs here, we've got one side is AM4, the other side is AM5. AM4 goes to the bottom, AM5 goes to the top when we are installing an AM5 chip, and vice versa. Now, the one difference between AMD and Intel is AMD will have its backplate securely mounted to the motherboard. It is done so via 4 screws. We have this screw here, 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 and here, and those all coordinate to a screw on the back, which is holding on our plate here. Those would be these screws here, 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 and here. And we just put standoffs on our 4 outer corners. This is a nice metal back plate, so very strong, very secure, not gonna go anywhere. And our retention kit. Always give a nice discount double check to the bottom. We have pre-applied thermal paste. And we will just go ahead and lay that right on top. And like Dad taught us when installing a spare tire, you don't go around the circle, you bounce around the corners. Makes it a lot more safe, more secure for when it's all fully mounted and attached. Now, thermal paste. What kinds of thermal paste? How much thermal paste? And is there such thing as having to upgrade it every day? Thermal paste, what we put on here is going to be, or what is pre-installed is very good to run it. If we are wanting to overclock our processor, that is where having upgraded thermal paste would probably be a pretty good option. You know, you don't go down to the racetrack and race your grandma's Honda. You'd probably want to do a little bit of tuning to it before racing grandma's Honda. So just like on a PC, just treat it like it's a high-end racing machine. The more you use it, the better the maintenance and equipment you're going to want to have done to it. So ideally, if we are just doing some casual gaming, we don't have to clean it as much and maintain it as much as if we were a professional streamer who is streaming 4 to 6 plus hours a day, 5 plus days a week. There are different machines for everybody. For a person like myself, where I'm just gaming maybe 10 hours a week, maybe throughout the week, if that, then I don't need to have a super high-end cooling solution because I'm not overclocking, I'm not tinkering, I'm not sitting in front of it, playing on it consistently for an extended period of time. What I have doesn't overheat significantly well. But if I was to upgrade to an AM5, or if I wanted to chase after some numbers and push my processor to run a little bit quicker, boost a little bit more than what it should, having a 360 liquid cooler with some upgraded thermals, thermal paste is very, very helpful. Zoom in on the nice one, Jupiter. Very cool. Alrighty, today we have with us a total of 32 gigabytes of 5600 megahertz. Memory, just like our processor, is also keyed so that it can only be installed one direction. It cannot go in multiple ways. As you can see, that center split is not dead center, it's off to the side. This is going to be different between DDR4, DDR5, DDR3, all of the Dance Dance Revolution RAMs are going to have a little bit different of a layout because they are not keyed the same. So it can only go in one way. If you're trying to install it, and you can see in that bottom left hand corner, it just rocks back and forth like that. Don't force it, just flip it, because what's happening is that center guide rod is actually hitting PCB and not that split. Okay. Now moving on, we've got a sweet Patriot 2 terabyte NVMe. How fast do you want to load your games? Yes, that is how fast. Ooh, that's a deep dish one. So when it comes to NVMEs, when it comes to storage devices, NVMEs definitely are going to be the fastest of the fastest on the market. SSDs are going to be very, very quick. And then HDDs are going to be running and definitely laying some cold train smoke, going to town on loading whatever they've got on that. But they all still are superb for building a nice all-around system. My dream setup would be having an 8 terabyte hard drive, a 4 terabyte SSD, and then a 2 terabyte NVMe. That gives me so much storage to where I can have all of my games stored properly on whatever device they are supposed to be installed on. Some games work and run better on hard drives, while some games work better on SSDs, and some work the best on NVMEs. It makes it a nice experience if everything is where it's best optimized. All right, so we have everything on the motherboard done now, so we can slap this off onto the side. But now I know what to look for the future. Perfect. Okay. Power supplies. How much power is needed to power your your power needs for all of your fun power toys? There are lots of calculators online. So you can Google power supply calculator, and that will ask what type of processor we're installing and what type of graphics card we're installing, so that it knows how much power you need, so that you're not having a bottleneck of power resources. Having a lightning. Zack, is the ASRock Z790 Lightning a good motherboard to buy? Yeah, this thing, the Z one that we just installed, I really like that one, because that's the one that we just did, was the Z760. But yes, the Z790 would be pretty sick too. I like the 790s. I can't tell you exactly what features there are because I look at so many different motherboards. I can't keep track of everything. but I do know that those guys have some pretty fun features on them. So this bad boy right here is a 4070 made by Zotac. Very, very similar to that other card that we just played with. This one has 12 gigabits of memory, or of RAM. Video. Okay. Boop. Okay, so we can drop our 750 watt over there, our 4070 over there. We've got a very fun fan controller, brought to you by the lovely folks over at Game Diaz. And I'm gonna go ahead and get these ready too. I always like frying up all the bacon. It's always a lot easier if you get everything cooked and then start dropping it. Prepping. Let's just go ahead and bring that back over. We're gonna do this way. So we want these 3 on that way. Okay. There are lots of different fans that we can use to cool our system off. Some fans require a hub that all of them get plugged into. Some of these hubs are proprietary with proprietary connections and plugins, so they can only be plugged into said hub device. And then we also have fans that are 4-pin fans, which can be plugged directly into a 4-pin fan header on our motherboard. And sometimes those guys will also have 3-pin RGB with them. The nice thing about having a proprietary type of a fan is I've got one cable. This one cable has all of my RGB and my fan spinning needs in one. So instead of routing 2 cables and having to manage 2 cables that are going to 2 different headers, so they're not going to the same location. It might be pretty close, because every once in a while some of these motherboards are like, hey, we're going to put you over there and you over there, keep you guys separated. So that is where we'd want to take a look at what our motherboard has, so that we can figure out what we need. You know, if we're building a really small system, and so we're working on an ITX motherboard, and our ITX case, or our ITX motherboard only has one fan header, and that's where we're plugging our heat distribution source into, then we're going to need to have fans that don't plug into the motherboard, i.e. they plug into something different that controls them. So that is, there's, as with pros and cons to everything, there is pros and cons to everything. I like the ability to have it separate so that you can have everything powered and just test everything beforehand without having to have it go to the motherboard and have the motherboard all set up. What does RAID support on a motherboard mean? So RAID support offers you to stack storage drives. That can be hard drives, or that can be SSDs. And essentially what there's several different, there's like RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 10. They all do different things. That's where, if you're interested in it, I definitely recommend watching some YouTube videos and Googling some research to do some more in depth about it. But essentially what it is with a RAID, I have 2 hard drives. I can make both of these hard drives essentially one hard drive so that all of my data is on that drive. Say this one drive goes bad and breaks. All of that data is still on this drive as well. So because this one faulted and went out, I still have all of my data on one device. Now, that being said, that is one way that RAID works. And I said there's RAID 0, 1, 5, and 10. Each of those represents a different form of how they pair the storage devices together and what happens when it faults. Essentially, RAID is for, the system is going to crash at some point in time, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years down the road. You don't know when, but you want to make sure that you have all of your iTunes stored on your hard drive. Well, if one goes out, you'll still have the other drives, and all of your data should be on there. But again, it all depends on which RAID you go and how you have everything set up. Some RAID systems can only be set up once. I'll say that again. Some RAID systems can only be set up once. What I mean with that is I'm slapping 10 drives onto this system. I can never add any more. So that is where, if you're wanting to get into RAIDing, to have all of your data at home set up on like a NAS, definitely do research. Definitely get drives that are meant for storage like that, because like I was talking about last week, there are different drives. Western Digital, I know, is really good at color coordinating their drives to where they've got drives for security systems, drives just for a NAS, drives just for gaming purposes. So like they have real specific hard drives just for specific, what word am I? Applications. Boom. Smart. So that's where there's a difference in RAID. And for the most part, that is only really going to be done on a server, or a NAS system, which is another server, just a local server. Yes, do research if we're wanting to get into it. But yes, RAIDing is fun. It's been a while. As much of the servers as I work, I highlight the RAID. I don't install the RAID. My biggest build was a 28 hard drives, all in one server, and I got all 28 of them to read on the first plugin, which was very, very sick. Yeah, no worries. I do my best to answer as best I can with the knowledge I have accumulated. Difference on performance. Okay. Yeah, before I got to go to the beggars, I actually got my gaming PC a few days ago. I noticed it had some extra PCI cables. Does using them make any difference on performance or anything? No, it does not. So different weights of power supplies are going to come with different cable kit, because essentially as you get a bigger power supply, that bigger power supply can power a bigger graphics card. Well, this guy down here just requires one 8-pin. Same with that 4060. Whereas like a 4090 requires 4 8-pins to plug into it, and some of those cards require 3 to plug into it. So that's where if you guys purchase a modular power supply from us, you'll usually get the extra excess cables in the little driver box that comes with it. And those are just for if because every once in a while, we had a customer ask that they wanted to buy a raw case, but they already have a graphics card. You could do that. You could purchase a graphics processor or a G-unit processor and opt out of getting a graphics card if you call in, because you have one at home, just let us know that you have a graphics card at home and how much power goes to it so that we can have those kind of tied and tucked up under in the power supply shroud. I've done that a handful of times where I can definitely tell. It's like, oh man, what's this processor doing with, and motherboard doing with this graphics card? Well, that person's probably giving that graphics card to their little sibling, to their significant other's computer, and because they already have their graphics card in their case at home, they just need a better system to go around it. So we do offer that, and can make that work if you guys want to call in. Those are some of my favorite builds, because I know that someone's getting a sick graphics card somewhere. That's all anybody wants is just a real cool graphics card. I try. Thank you, Hasim. You are pretty killer, man. Bloop. Okay. Hand-me-downs are always the best. Yes, they are. That was my first computer, was a hand-me-down from my uncle. It was amazing. It played Tomb Raider and Indiana Jones and Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit. And that was my jam. And that's why I drive so fast, is because I learned how to drive in a Ferrari and never looked back. Alright, I know keyboard and mouse. We did do some pretty good talk about some keyboards in the earlier show, or in a earlier show. I feel like, keyboards are pretty cool, but controllers are real fun. Anybody play on any custom controllers or any different kind of controllers? No, Hasim, I'm talking about Need for Speed 3, Hot Pursuit, the original, the 1998 Hot Pursuit. The OG Hot Pursuit, that's what I was playing on. Man, I still remember that load up screen. I can still see it. So good. And that intro song is amazing. Dude, intro songs and menu songs to video games, they used to like put the sickest song tracks out on menus, pause menus, and you're like, what? I know like today is like Halo and Skyrim have pretty good pause screens, but man, you guys remember the Perfect Dark pause theme or GoldenEye pause theme? Those two were oof. Too good. Too good for their own good. Okay, that goes there. This goes this way. Def Jam. Good songs. And of course, GTA San Andreas. My first racing game was a game called Test Drive. It was pretty fun. Yeah, Need for Speed Underground. I wish they would do a remake of, because that game deserves it. And I feel like they could easily remake all of the three, the Holy Trinity of the Need for Speeds, and they can put them all in one game like the Orange Box did. And then we can have a remastered Need for Speed collection. I don't know if anybody at EA is listening, but or if anybody knows anybody at EA, but like if you want to, you know, a little nudge, nudge, hint, hint, wink, wink, I think the people will get it. Okie dokie, that was the fastest front panel plugin because this is how I really want the future of front panels to work. So let me show you how front panels work. Front panels and USB headers are very similar. We've got posts on the left side popping up. And then when we get to our far right side, we've got a super sick empty spot on the top for our front panels. So this is how a front panel looks like. And if we were looking at a USB header, this pin down here that I just covered with my pinky would be up top here. So we've got a free spot up in the top. That's how we know we are looking at a front panel header. We like starting it off with our HDD LED in the bottom left. Just to the right of that is our reset switch. Directly above our reset switch is our power switch. And then to the left of that is our power LED. Now, on some cases, not like this NV5 that I have right here, this power LED cable is split in half. So it is a twofer, whereas our power, our HDD LED, and our reset switch are all connected. The power LEDs are split. We do have positives and negatives, so we want to make sure that we are plugging them in on the right side. So we start off, I like starting off in the bottom on that HDD LED. We've got a power or a positive left and a negative right. Our reset switch gets flipped over with a negative left and a positive right. Then we go back to the same way with a negative right and a positive left for our power switch, and our LEDs is negative and positive. That is a front panel setup for this generation of motherboards. So, boom. Yeah, I got my first gaming PC. It's pre-built, but I like it. Sick. Okay, Ed59, what I would like you to do, if you don't mind, you can go to our sweet Discord page and you can upload some pictures of your new build. That's super sick. I like our pre-builds. They're really nice. They can play lots of games. That's all I'm going to say. Midnight Club was fun. The Fast and Furious movie and Need for Speed Underground came around at the same time, I think. I believe so. That sounds pretty close. Okay. So I have all of my case done. I can now move on to the fan work, which the fan work is really nice. We've got enough fans here to do a really good setup. Let's put you over here. Nope. Let's just go right there. Yeah. A nice stack of fan screws. Okay, when installing and working with fans, nice. Very cool. I'm excited. I'm excited. I have not posted mine yet. I just keep looking. I have I have some setup I need to do before posting, because I, especially off of that comment that somebody said of, I bet his house is really clean. My desk, I'm definitely not showing you guys my cable management there. Because of the way I have everything set up at my house, I have it set up to where whatever controller, whatever game I want to play, I can grab said controller for the game. So if I'm racing, flying, fighting, or just want to run around with a controller, I have all of those. Got a flight stick, a fight stick, a racing wheel, couple different sets of controllers, one with haptics. I'm a big haptics fan. I think, I don't know, I wish there was more integrated haptics on stuff, just because I like the feedback. I think the rumble, the vibration feels real like, and it's more fun when you hit things and then you get a little, you know. The one haptic controller that I do have is wireless. I'll tell you, a wireless controller in a racing game is not fun at all. That thing, I don't know what it does. It keeps dropping out like right as I go into a turn, and I'll be doing some good work. So that's why I'll stick to my racing wheel, because I've got a Logitech race wheel that has feedback on it, and that's real fun. Dad found out that video games can kind of be simulators. I'm pretty happy with it. Unstalling everything. Just need to figure out how to speak the face speaker. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Which one was it? What was the build or the case that it's in? I like our pre-built, like, guys, if you wake up one day and it's morning enough and you're like, man, I want a computer this week, you can go to our ready to ship page, and as long as it's available and early enough in the day, that could get shipped out to you the same day, if not the next day. So, and the fact that we are in Wichita, we're in the Wichita. What's up? How's it going? We're in Wichita, so we are pretty well centrally located, so that we can ship coast from two coasts. We can ship to either coast pretty quickly. Won't take long. And then we do ship into some international waters. You can go onto our website to learn more on where we can and cannot go. But for the most part, I believe we're trying to hit everywhere. We do have our giveaways, and those are usually what limits some countries. Nice. Heck yeah, that's cool. Well, thank you for purchasing one of our purchases. I had that fan hub somewhere, didn't I? Oh yeah, there it is. I am doing good. How are you today? You ready for the weekend? I'm ready for the weekend. I've been waiting for this weekend my whole life. And I am so excited. I'm gonna stand up and tell people that I love Bridget. And she loves me. when it comes to purchasing fans, we are in a world today where fans are kind of on to like that next level almost of awesome craziness that they are capable of doing. So they're getting a little bit crazy on price, but you know, they've got some pretty wicked stuff that they're capable of doing. We've got fans that you don't see the back plate. The blade is reversed inside of the housing, so even though it looks like it shouldn't be bringing air in, it is an intake. We live in a crazy world, people. PC part bigger estimated logic calculator reliable enough. Yeah, if you want to, that is a good start to figure out how much weight your power supply is needed. Definitely do one of those power watt calculators on Google or on PC, and that will let you know a good level of power supply that is needed for your components. You know, a power supply, when you think about it, is pretty universal, right? What I mean by universal is it can go from build to build to build to build to build. Now hear what I'm saying. If we buy a nice enough one, we don't have to spend ridiculously crazy money, but if we buy a nice enough one, and that's modular or semi-modular or comes with enough cables, it can last for future builds. I.e. like what we were talking about earlier with the client asking about having extra PCI cables. You know, 3 years down the road, 4 years down the road, 5 years down the road, when you're like, okay, this graphics card is going kaput, I need a new graphics card. What's the power requirements going to be for those bad boys a couple years down the road? Are you going to need to have 3 cables to plug into a power supply? Are you still going to have the 1 cable, or what did I do down here? Crazy. Okay. Are you still going to be needing a whole bunch of cables to plug in to a graphics card or something like that? Then definitely having a power supply that is a little bit bigger, not just enough for the components you have, but big enough to support the components you have, and maybe some components in the future, is never a bad thing. It can help because that is one part that is always transferable, just like storage devices for the most part. Most storage devices can kind of go with the flow and carry over from rig to rig if that's how you like to build. There's a Superflow Platinum 12 fully. Sounds pretty crazy. 155 for 12, that's not bad though. Are zip ties better than Velcro ties for internal cable management? Perfect question, iced coffee. I really appreciate that question. I am our server builder, so I build with both. Some cables have a thin enough housing around them to where Velcro is what you want to do, because when I pull my zip tie, the plastic edge on the inside could be sharp enough to where as I'm pulling it, it could slicey dicey our cable. And so usually when it comes to stuff like that, I will use zip ties on everything until I get to a SATA data transfer cable. A data transfer cable. So that would be a cable like this. This is what we're plugging into hard drives. This is what we're plugging into SSDs. It also gets plugged into the motherboard via the SATA port. These cables here have a very nice rubber housing around them, so I am okay if I need to zip tie this cable. I'm not going to pull it maybe as tight as normal, but I am okay to use a zip tie around it. For me, when I'm working with servers and I'm setting up a RAID for those servers, usually there is a RAID card that gets used, so all of the hard drives or SSDs get plugged into one device, and they all get plugged in via the same cable. So it's a cable that has 4 different SATAs sprouting off of it. Well, each of those SATAs is not a well plastically housed cable. It's in a really thin sleeve. So those guys I don't like using SATA or zip ties on, just for damage purposes. But for the most part, as long as the housing around the cable is thicker, you know, you'll be good with zip ties. Okay, 4070. $4070 12 gigabyte edition. We can, boom, just like that, done and done. Yeah, no worries. I like to manage things separately. It makes it a little bit easier to tie up, to have your fans in your case and then your power supplies all separate. Some people like having everything together. Yeah. Just kind of depends all on you. How do you like doing it? If you're the one building it, you do it how you want to. You can get all of the tips and hints and tricks that you can from watching other people do it, but there's nothing more fun than just doing it yourself. Okay, and we're going to plug RGB in. Boop and boop. And this is an LED in, and we have an LED out, so we can daisy these hubs together if we have more than 8 fans that can be plugged in. Or we could do really cool stuff and plug it into the case so that it can sync up with that light strip on that power supply shroud and look real pretty while glowing, because it all will match. Matchy, match, match. Did I miss the FSB diagram today? Yes. Yes, yes, but I finally gave in. Sorry, I had something in my throat there. So this is a 750 watt power supply we have with us today. This is a non-modular, so we have the pleasure of working with all of the cables, and we're going to make it look as pretty as we can. We've got our 24 pins, we've got our CPUs, we've got our VGAs, and we've got our SATA Molexes. We're going to go ahead and tie up this 4-banger because we don't need extra SATAs and the Molexes and the floppy disk all. No, We don't need that. I've got it set up with an extra SATA if needed off of the main, because all we'll be plugging in today will be our fan hub and our, hidden back there, case SATA that powers the light strips. Whoosh. Our graphics card today is a solo 8-pin cable. You know, I tied out. You know, you've seen a thing or two when you tie up all of your cables before setting it in, because you know exactly where they need to be. And that was a solo. Yes, just a solo 8-pin. What coolant would be good for not freezing my house? It gets very cold during the winter time. I would use, what coolant would be good for not freezing? My house gets very cold during winter time. I use wood heat. Snake, are you using an open loop system? Are you playing on an open loop system? Because yeah, that is a thing. Because I do know, I can't remember off the top of my head, but we have shipped a couple of open loop systems to Canada, or not Canada, Alaska before, and that was something that like the dye, the color dye that we stick in, is like a coolant type of a solution to where it makes it to where it like can't freeze like that. It's an anti-freeze type of a coolant, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm very bad at remembering stuff like that. Nice. Okay. Okay, so now we can install all of our stuff. Go ahead and tuck in our cables that aren't needed. Guy and this guy. And then we'll bring these two. Boom and boom, 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 and boom. And let's go put here in. When it comes to installing power supply cables, we want to make sure that we are using the cables that came with or work for our power supply. When we get like a cable mod kit, those cables are rated for that power supply. There's a reason why they're all different watts. Those different watts has different standards for how big the cables can be on them. So you don't want to use a 750 watt cable on a 1000 watt power supply, because that 750 is probably a little bit lighter of a gauge of a cable, of a wire used on the internals than that 1000 watt. So it might put too much power to that line and end up burning it up, which can cause some damage. I have fried several hard drives and several fans and hubs because the SATA was the wrong SATA. So just be careful. If you find a box of random cables, be sure that they're for the system you actually have. Yes. Oof. Okay. So I would look up, is it something that, if it's a system that you're building personally, I would try and find a solution that could go into the water that you're installing in the rig to allow it to have those colder temperature, or be able to hit those colder temps, and still be okay, not freeze up. It was a very long time ago for when we did that Alaska order, so I can't remember how we did it, but I know that we sent one up there because that was the topics, and I thought everything was good because the chemical that we stick in is kind of like an antifreeze type of a thing, but they were concerned that it would be too cold. Because you can, it's like windshield wiper fluid. They're different by 40 degrees, and sometimes that difference by 40 degrees is the difference of it's frozen now or it's not frozen now. So come on. There we go. And you get the bag. Okay. From here, this will go to Hayden, actually, who will test it and burn it all in and get it set up for our photography men. And then you guys should be able to see this one pretty soon out and about in the wild where you can purchase it. I have not seen any AORUS codes. We offer everything from paint jobs to print jobs. So if there is a color scheme you are liking, we have it. If you are a fan of the classic Call of Duty tiger striped camouflage paint jobs for your weapons, we've got it. We can do that. Every time I see one in red, blue, or green, I'm always blown away and go right back to those sweet skins. And then with our print jobs, we do very cool, very fun stuff with print jobs. You can get a hold of us personally if you'd like to have your gamer tag put up on the front. That's something that we can get done. There. But all of our systems have a 12-hour burn-in, so they're prime 95 in and test benching for 12 hours to make sure that everything runs smooth on them. If anything needs to get upgraded or changed out, we will do that to make sure that it is a smooth operator for when it gets out to you. We do have all of the fun accessories and everything on our website as well. So if more than a computer is what you're after, then we can definitely help get you set up. We've got monitors, chairs, mics, keyboards, mice, all routers, all of the fun stuff to get you set up, controller, all of the fun controllers, racing wheels, Horus systems, all that fun stuff. We sell it. And once a month we give a sick system away, usually paired with something. This month is a BEACN mixed mic create kit, so pretty cool. Don't forget to get as many entries as you can. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I will shoot you over to DJ where he's going to be gaming. I won't see you on Thursday, but Paul will be here. His face will be in the place, building with you guys. So thank you guys. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you later. Thank you for all the congratulations. Have a good weekend, Scuba Gang. Catch you later.